wake up, it's the morning. Wake up, the day is dawning. Wake up, it's time to start the day. So everybody's gotta wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the morning. Wake up, the day is dawning. Wake up, it's time to spill some tea. So everybody's gotta wake up, wake up.
Everybody, welcome to Wake Up with T. Oliver. I'm T. Oliver Reed, your host, and yes, you have seen me in multiple Tony Award-winning musicals on Broadway, but now you get to see me sit down virtually with friends, peers, and colleagues while we discuss Broadway, life, and beyond. So let's get to talking. Episode 8. Isn't She Lovely? I'm so happy to have this time to speak with friend, fellow castmate of Thoroughly Modern Millie, star of Finnies Rainbow, Hello Dolly, and so much more. Tony Nominee Kate Baldwin. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the lovely, the beautiful, the talented two-time Tony and nominee Kate Baldwin. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, love. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I am doing okay. So I have to say, like, the pandemic has been interesting for me because I have totally realized that I am an introvert with extrovert tendencies. So the idea of being at home with my other half for this amount of time has been okay. How are you doing?
Yeah, similarly, I'm the kind of person who would always complain about having to run out the door at dinner time.
Yeah.
To go to the theater, and now I'm like, I was always like, oh, I just want to make dinner for everybody. I just want to be home, just want to make dinner. And now, it's day 173, and I'm like, do I have to make dinner again?
You have to make dinner again. Yes.
Yeah, for and some days it's just going to be hot dogs, and everyone's going to be thrilled. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's great. So wait, okay, so you mentioned that because and someone posted something on Facebook the other day about the amount of burn on their hot dogs. Where are you? I like my hot dog just very easy, barely grilled. I like a little char, or I like it like blackened, like we were in Louisiana.
See, we just throw it in some hot water and boil it on the stovetop. I haven't even grilled a hot dog because, I have a 9-year-old. So if he sees a little burn mark or what he perceives as a burn mark, he's like, oh, I'm not having that. And you know what I say to him? More color, more flavor.
Yes. And you just shifted. You have a lot of color of your fruit. You had some lime and lemons and some peppers there and some bananas. Was it an apple? Delightful. Getting the fiber, getting the best fruit.
Get all your vitamins. Yes, that's very important.
So how this has been a really interesting day for me because one, I'm so happy to talk to you because like the idea like from Thoroughly Modern Millie and the such amazing time we had there, and I talked to Michael Mayer a couple of days ago, but I get to talk to two of the Broadway's leading ladies. I would talk to Kelly O'Hara earlier, and now I get to talk to you, and like the fact that both of you are juggling this new family life of like 24/7 with full family and making that work and having time away from career because we were all on pause for a little while.
Yeah.
How has the dynamic changed for you from being a full-time mom, but being sort of part-time in the house and part-time working to mom is home all the time, and now you have to do certain things that you maybe weren't doing or getting away with before?
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same for everybody. Everybody's got their good days and everybody's got their bad days. And there are days when you sort of let the news from the world in and you can start to feel dragged down by it. You can start to feel overwhelmed by it. You can start to feel like, what do I do? And then there are days when I just have to be sort of insular about it and like build up the wall and get my child to do his homeschooling and make sure he takes care of himself. And in a weird way, T, it's kind of like, I was saying this to like a mom group. I feel I am performing every day. I'm performing for my son. And I feel like most parents, in whether they know it or not, are kind of doing that, because you feel like you have this person who's looking at you and trying to have you teach them about the world. How are you going to handle this stressful time? It's going to be direct. They absorb it all, no matter what you think you're putting out, no matter what you think you're covering up or dealing with. And so we all burst into tears every now and then, and nobody, but then I know exactly why. Everybody's stressed. It's so stressful, and we just stopped today and we did some meditation, just some breathing, and just trying to keep it all going, keep putting one foot in front of the other, and keep doing little things every day, because that's what makes real progress, right? Little things every day.
Absolutely. And so and you were in a, what I love to call a theater marriage. You married another actor. How one, I don't know how the two of you met. Was it on a show, or how did you meet?
It was on a show. We met. We were doing a version of 1776, if you remember that musical. And this was in 2003. So wait a minute, we opened Millie in the spring of 2002. Yeah,
but you left to do Miss Saigon. So did you do 1776 after Miss Saigon?
Yeah, I did South Pacific, and then I stayed in Washington, D.C. and did 1776, and I found my husband.
Good work. Because I remember when you left Millie, and you and Aaron Ramey both were doing that production of Miss Saigon out at Paper Mill. And I remember, I feel like almost the entire cast came out to see you guys in the show.
It was so nice. You're right. Everybody showed up. Why? Do you remember why?
Because we love you. That's why. Oh. Yeah, but that was that moment, like, because again, it was we had such an amazing cast of Millie, but we got to see you shine in a way. It was like, oh my gosh, Kate's gonna be a star. She's gonna be a star. And then with Finnies Rainbow and everything else that happened after that, it's like it's been so great to like see you grow into you.
That's so nice of you to say. Thank you. God, doesn't Millie feel like a lifetime ago? Can you believe that
it was almost 20 years ago? Is that not the craziest thing you've ever heard in your life? We have been doing this for that long, but because we started 2001, because we started after 9/11, because we were supposed to start earlier because they had gone to. Did you go to La Jolla with the show, or did you join? Because I didn't go to La Jolla.
I know. Yeah.
So then there was that pause.
I was gonna say there were only like a third of us who did the show in La Jolla, who eventually ended up doing it on Broadway.
Yeah. Crazy
times. Those were some crazy times.
Crazy times, because the show was the Broadway rehearsals were pushed back a little bit just to see what was going on and how people were going to respond to coming to theater. And it seems like we're back there again. But and then we started. It was such a great group of people, and just the amount of love that was around.
Yeah, I feel like I learned so much. I learned so much from watching you, from watching Darren Lee, from watching Dan LeBono. Dan LeBono was my dance partner in the Speakeasy. And I remember talking to him once, and maybe I'm going to out how old he is, but I was talking to him, and I was like, what'd you do on your day off? And he was like, well, how about you go first? And I was like, well, I went out for drinks with my friends, and then I went to see a movie, and then I did some yoga, and then, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff. I was like, what'd you do? He's like, I went to PT, and then I went to the chiropractor, and then I did the acupuncture, then I had a massage, and then I ended with an Epsom salt bath. And I was like, what? He's like, that's what I have to do in order to do this show. And I was like, whoa. I never want to be. And here I am now, older than that.
Yeah.
And he had the good sense to get out and get a real job. And here I am still hoofing it, like trying to like.
But that's the thing. It's so crazy. Like, again, like talking earlier, it's like the idea is like like you're a lifer. Like we are those who are like we started in the business, and after that first show we didn't say, okay, I quit, that's enough, that I'm gonna do something else. Or 3 shows in, it's like you found yourself here, and the
Yeah.
love of theater or some madness, whatever it was that kept you here, has kept you here and kept you working, but also kept you in this this place of uncertainty, because like work is great, but then there's always this is not that business where you work and you get a job and you can work at that job for 35 years and then retire. It's the consistent back and forth of re-auditioning and everything. And I mean how for you with all that, has there been a notable transition from when Kate Baldwin was actress Kate Baldwin working on Broadway to Kate Baldwin, Broadway star, Tony nominee working on Broadway, and how the audition process or any of that has changed for you?
That's a fascinating question. I want to go back to one of the things you were talking about, because I always say to young people, and old people too, my parents, that this job, this career does not have a corporate ladder. Exactly what you were saying. There's no, specific path for anybody. It's a Ferris wheel, right? And sometimes you're on the top of the wheel and sometimes you're at the bottom of the wheel. Or it's your perception of it, because we could all perceive it. You could see it any way you want to. You could see it with like, I have all the opportunities in the world, or you can say, well, I didn't get that thing, and I'm shut out of that opportunity, or so it's really, for me, the discovery has been, it's whatever you think it is. It's as good or as bad as you think it is. Yeah. And several things happened to sort of like clue me into that. I met some who I thought were really successful people in musical theater who I revere still, and call a dear friend, who don't think that they're anything special, who say like, I can't sell tickets, I can't keep the show open, I'm a failure, never mind the awards on my shelf, all that kind of stuff. And so really it's about your own mind, and it's whether or not you are like day to day happy, I think. I'm sorry, see, you're catching me in this like very philosophical place.
No, I love it, and I love that. One of the things about this series that I want everyone to people who will be watching understand, it's like, this is about us being able to have conversations, and so that people understand that everyone is human, and everyone is going through this life, hopefully, at a similar pace, and learning things, and realizing things, and figuring out how you get to homeschool a 9-year-old in a pandemic, which we never thought we'd have to do, and how our business has shut down, and what that means for theater families, and what that means for just what the next job is going to be. And we get to talk about those 3 things that we were always told never to talk about: politics, technique, and religion. So we can be as philosophical as you want to be.
Do you know about a podcast called Death, Sex, and Money? It's my favorite.
No.
Oh, and the tagline is kind of what you were just saying, a spin on those things, like things we don't talk about, but maybe we should talk about more. Death, sex, and money, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely, I'm glad. I will subscribe to it, because I'm a podcast all the time.
Me too.
Every possible.
I know. I just listened to the Daily today, the one about the New York Times puts out, and got completely terrified by it. I was on my power walk this morning, and Mark Jacoby flagged me down. He lives here in Maplewood too, so I heard him over my podcast. And then so he and his wife were out for their walk too, and they had masks on, and I had run out of the house and I'd forgotten a mask, and I felt like that jerk who didn't have a mask on. And the first thing I said is like, I'm so sorry, I don't have a mask on, I'm not sick, I know, but still, like, I'm that idiot who didn't have a mask. And I vowed, I was like, we'll never go out my door again without a mask, even though I live in the suburbs, and it's different everywhere you go. Sure. I mean, of course, but come on, I'm in New Jersey, I need to wear a stupid mask. Anyway, I didn't mean to like self-flagellate on your show. Where you want to talk about musicals again? Where are we?
But here's but it's the things like but it's also for me, it's like why I like my wallet is in the same pocket of the jacket because if I don't have it in that pocket, I will leave my apartment without my wallet or without my keys or something. So everything's always there. So now it's become a habit that my mask is in a certain pocket. So it's like if I'm wearing this jacket, then it's here. Or if I'm not wearing that jacket, then I have to make sure that it's in, the pant pocket or wherever so that I have it with me. But it's always that, it's that fear of you think you have everything because you're so the normal that we were used to.
Yeah.
You leave the house with your key or your cell phone because you're going out for your morning walk. And now that morning walk also requires a mask and maybe, some hand sanitizer as well, because you never know who you're going to run across or you're going to want to stop and, buy some bananas or whatever else.
Yeah, it's the new normal. And I think it's going to be this way for a year from now, isn't it? Like we're going to be doing this for another maybe 18 months.
Yeah.
What I sort of have been reading and and I know that people are always asking, like, when does theater come back? When do we get to do this again? And the idea. I just read an amazing article last night, and Lauren Latero was talking about having re-choreographed all of Mrs. Doubtfire with social distancing in mind. So like no more partnering, no more clumps of people moving around the stage. Wow. Isn't that amazing?
No, it is. It truly. It's going to be very interesting for the theater because we are in the business of intimacy. So, as much as, in the past couple of years, we've had intimacy directors come in for certain plays and musicals. Yeah. Now to figure out how we can maintain a bit of intimacy, but spatially awareness as well, so that everyone feels comfortable coming into work. And also what that means for us, because, there's so many times it's like, you're a star of a show and you don't feel well, but the producers and the directors looking at you like, we really need you to come in because someone's going to be here tonight or whatever else. It's like, there won't be any more of that. Because if you say you're sick, it's like, then you get to stay at home because we don't want anyone else to get sick.
That's a really good point. Yes, that's a bright spot, to come out of this, that maybe we will take illness very seriously and take care of ourselves when we need to. It wasn't until I did Dolly, I think Hello Dolly was the longest I've ever done a show. I've done 6 Broadway shows. You've probably done 12 or 18 by now. And but like for me, like they were all, I did a short stint in every single one. So nothing more than like 4 or 5 months. So I did Dolly for almost like 21 months. And it was Gavin really who taught me, like, if you don't feel well, just go ahead and stay home. And I have like this Midwestern, like, I'm going to do my job. Of course I will. The show must go on. He was like, no. There are understudies. There are people who know your track and who are great, and you're going to be fine, and go home. Yeah, but I've never done that before. Never ever done that before.
I had not done it until like it was I think it was Never Gonna Dance, and we were in tech rehearsals. We hadn't even opened the show yet, and I was sick, and it was that sick like I was like, I think I have the flu, that kind of sick. And I was standing on stage, and all of a sudden, like I something had happened, and like someone on the crew or something, I turned around, I was like, where's this person? Like, oh, they went home, they weren't feeling well. It's like, then why am I still here? And I finally was like, I'm leaving. I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully, but I'm not feeling well. But it's like, it's that things like we work in a business that people think that you have to pretend that you're invincible. So like our pain threshold seems to be higher because we're so used to, you're walking around in 3-inch heels all the time. And it's like you sprained your ankle, but it's like, it's fine. I'll be fine. I can shake it off. Or, normally when you have a tickle in your throat or you're not feeling well, other people would stay at home. But it's like, oh no, I'm going to go in. I'm going to sing full out for 2.5 hours and pretend that it's okay.
Agreed. Yes, I totally agree. And I remember being in college, and my voice teacher, who was phenomenal, and I don't know if she did this out of her own self-interest or with us in mind. I think I called her, I was a sophomore or something, and I called her up and I said, I'm too sick to come to my lesson today. And she said, come in and I'll teach you how to sing when you're sick. so that when you are in a show and you can't call out, you will be able to sing over what you have.
Yeah.
And that blew my mind. She did. And I have a method for coping with that.
Yeah.
And part of me thinks it's because she didn't want to like reschedule a lesson. She was like,
possible. Yeah.
I reserve this time for you and you're going to take it no matter what. We're going to this lesson number, 12 off the roster. But it did help me. But I think also just 20 years ago, I would definitely like never call out and be there no matter what. Now I'm older, it's different.
Well, it's interesting because as we've gotten a little older, because we're only still in our late 20s.
Yes.
But we realize that that life happens outside of the theater. So it's like, as much as we love what we do and it's careers that we've chosen, like I feel like there were so many years that I missed birthdays and weddings and all those things. And now it's just like, you make a pact with yourself to say, I'm not missing this anymore.
Yes.
When there's something going on with family that I feel like I should be there, now I need to be there. I
agree. It's much easier to do that now than it was when we were younger. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And maybe because this time that will, come into sharper focus too.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure to see what happens. And you said something to me earlier about Graham. It's like that he's still working right now because he's doing audio
books. Yeah.
How has, because again, it's that whole thing is like people think, okay, you're Broadway star, Tony nominated, all these things are happening, and that everything is like, oh, then you get to skip on clouds because life is perfect all the time. We all seem to be in this place that for concerts and for work and everything else, like everything is shut down for the foreseeable future. And for everyone, we're all on the same page of like, so how are we going to continue our lives? And
it's really scary. And I'm lucky enough to have had some savings. And so I am currently still waiting for, I don't know if you've filed or tried to file for some unemployment or pandemic employment assistance as I think that's what I qualify for. But anyway, Catherine Brunel actually and I are like teamed up here in New Jersey, trying to like share information about like, who did you talk to somebody? Did you get somebody on the phone? What phone number did you call? What did you fill out on the form? And how, am I going to get, shot down the wrong path of like, is it New Jersey unemployment? Is it pandemic unemployment assistance? So I'm trying to still figure out that maze because on March 12th, when everything shut down, we were in rehearsal for Love Life at City Center.
Yes.
So we were, of course, at the time, and luckily, our City Center decided to pay out the rest of our contract, which was really lovely. And I have some savings, and every here the friends are asking me to do their demos, and there's a master class here and there, and things like that. But Graham really is the one who is floating us for the.
But it's also it's things like, you hate that this is like the nest egg or the money that you've been able to save. It's like now it's like, and now we're just going to spend that because you're waiting for something to come from the government, or you're waiting to sort of make sure that you can make it through the next little bit of time.
Really, it's kind of like an exercise of like, how thrifty can I be? Like, what can I spend money on? And I know I'm not alone,
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, this thing, like with me, is like, again, it's like Jeremiah is a school teacher, so his work is nonstop. And I keep thinking, it's like, okay, so there will be some unemployment from here to here. And again, it's like lucky enough that I've saved some. It's like, okay, so this will get me until we're working again. But the idea of losing all that savings because we're in a holding pattern is a lot.
Yeah, it's just where we are. And luckily there are some places that have asked for concerts, we're booking concerts for like 14 months from now, that kind of.
Mhm.
So I do feel hopeful that it is going to come back. But like, are things like cruise ships ever going to come back? I don't know. Like,
No, they're supposed to be starting cruises again in like August.
no, really?
Yeah, people have lost their minds. They're like, I'm getting back on a cruise ship in August. Now the performers are still on the cruise ship. They can't get to dry land, but you're going to get one. Okay, absolutely, go for it. It's
Oh
craziness.
my goodness. Did you see the pictures of people that from this past holiday weekend in
Yeah,
swimming pools, like elbow to elbow in swimming pools, and
Lake
like,
of the Ozarks, Missouri.
yeah,
Yes.
yes. And I just think to myself, okay,
Mhm.
people do not want to socially distance. We are not built that way. And
No,
it's not just us theater people.
no.
I think it's human beings that we want to be close to each other.
No, absolutely. But there's this that moment that you have to say like it is not about me anymore. It is about
Yes.
we, and I've got to do what I need to do to take care of all of us. So as much as, so you're like, I got to get out and get my hair cut. I got to get my nails done. I just want to sit in a restaurant for a few minutes. It's like, we all want to. Unfortunately, New York, New Jersey has been hit hard. So we have to be, we're in a pause that's a little more intense than other states. But those other states are going to be a part of that second wave, and unfortunately, I think it's going to be rough on the ones who've opened up too soon.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what are we only halfway through? I think we're only halfway through. Um, what the projected sort of illness count can be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the truth is nobody knows, but taking every precaution is the most important. And I got to wear my mask all the time.
Always. So and so you were saying you have the double whammy of you went to a great school, Northwestern, but you also have an Interlochen connection.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Did you go to Interlochen too?
No, but I have Wikipedia'd you. I'm getting all the information.
I was like, why didn't I see you there? Yes, I went to Interlochen for 2 summers. I was just a camper there for the summers, but one between my sophomore and junior year, and one between my junior and senior year of high school. And then after I graduated from high school, my dad said, no, get a real job. You can't go to camp.
Practical man. So are you from a musical or artistic family, or?
What? No,
Really?
I'm the black sheep of my family. Like, my mom's a scientist, my dad's a banker. My brother went to the Naval Academy and was in the military, and it works for an energy company. Like, yeah, there are times when, in my darkest moments, I think, oh, they still don't care or appreciate what I do for a living, because they appreciate music.
Yes.
And there's always music in my house growing up. My mom loves music. She made sure we went to art museums. She made sure we went to the ballet. She made sure, all of that was accessible to us in my hometown of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was great, and I came to New York when I was 13 and sang with my choir at Avery Fisher Hall, which was insane. And I was like, I remember thinking at 13 years old, oh, I want to move here. This is where I want to be. This is the greatest place ever.
Love it.
I still feel that way about New York City. I think you have to fall in love with New York to put up with all the stuff,
Yeah, for sure.
But I love it there. I just, so I set my sights on moving to New York early on, and I studied theater at Northwestern, and then graduated.
Were you and Catherine there at the same time?
Yes, we were the same year, but Catherine booked Les Mis.
She left early, right?
And she left early. Yeah. She and Heather Headley were the 2 people from our class who left early, because Heather did Ragtime, and then later Aida, and Catherine did Les Mis. She booked it on spring break or something. She went to an open call on spring break and then just didn't come back to school.
Oh.
And then we got to work together in Millie and sit next to each other's dressing room. I'm telling you, that dressing room, those ladies were the most fun.
Do you remember, was it our invited dress rehearsal that the septic overflowed and you guys couldn't get to the stage before the show or something?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I completely forgot about that. Yes, you're totally right. And the Marquee is a newer theater too. You wouldn't think that
Yeah,
we'd
but
have.
there was always some talk about the fact that when they built that hotel over what would have been the two theaters that were there, like
Yeah.
somehow they had not figured out the whole sort of HVAC system and all these things. So the theater was not sort of its own entity, but it was a part of the hotel. So like the septic and blah 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 was all mixed in with the hotel. So there are all these issues.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I remember that. I remember Ann Nathan and her tap tile. She would warm up with her tap tile next door to us at the time.
Uh-huh.
So fun. I was on the side of the dressing room that had windows that looked out over 45th Street.
Yeah.
And so people could stand on the street and wave at us. And, hopefully they didn't see, too much of what was happening.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was so great. Remember that elevator too, that was on stage for a hot second?
Crazy.
Yes.
Do you remember that it was it was like before we changed the opening number, and there was that one moment like we would all run to like upstage in that corner and then come back down, everything today.
Yes.
There was just so much craziness with Casey and Terry Burrell and the tap number like backstage plays. For those like literally every night there was something else going on, and we had Flat Stanley.
Stage Productions, yeah. Wasn't it called Stage Right Productions? And
yes,
isn't that
yes.
And Casey started it. A little show for every woman who was on stage ready to be rotated. We were on the turntable and we were ready to be rotated around to start the speed test, which was Millie's, job interview. Yeah. So we'd all up and then we would rotate around and catch a glimpse of whoever was lined up off stage, right. It was the entire men's ensemble. And so Casey started concocting shows. And I remember my last show, he made it a little puppet out of a redheaded girl, and then had because I was leaving to do Miss Saigon, he had a helicopter come and take her away.
I remember that. I can't believe that. That's yeah. Oh my gosh, we had such good times. I mean, so many good times. For you, I mean, because then the first big back to Broadway as the star was Finnies Rainbow.
Yeah, I came back. I replaced
with Cheyenne.
Yes, with Cheyenne. Yes, what a dream! What a dream!
So crazy because again, for those who don't know, was it Darren Ritchie that left, and then Cheyenne? Oh gosh, let me think.
You know what, Brandon?
No, Brandon Wardell left.
Yeah, Brandon and Aaron left at about the same time because Brandon was to do like Assassins or something. Yeah. And so Cheyenne either replaced Brandon or he replaced Aaron. And Darren Ritchie was the other. I don't know. They were both double numbers for both of those guys. So I'm not sure who.
So how was the experience of Finnies Rainbow and
the dream, a total dream. Like we never thought when we were rehearsing it at Encores that anybody would pick it up and try to move it to Broadway. But then we got these incredible reviews. It was sort of an exercise in just like looking around and notice the perfect casting. Jim Norton as Finian, Cheyenne, Chris Fitzgerald joined us as Og, the leprechaun on Broadway. We had this beautiful dancer, Alina Faye, who was this gorgeous ballerina. And they were and Terry White singing Necessity, like she wrote it, It's just this amazing group of people. And then Chuck Cooper, and then David Schramm playing, the two versions of the Senator. Yeah. And for such an odd show, because let's face it, it's a really weird one with a gorgeous score. Yes. It was treated with such love and dignity and a very light touch. And I think that's how that show works. And so I think that's why I came to Broadway, and we got like great reviews on Broadway too. Yeah. And we closed in 3 months.
and but as you know, it's like it really is the luck of the draw. You never know what's going to happen and how people are going to respond to something, or even if they respond greatly, you know, what's
Yeah.
going to happen, and that's where we get there. You know, there is no business like show business. That we anything is possible. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, and I remember doing a talk back or something. We knew we were closing, but there was this student group that came, and these were little kids, like
Mhm.
they were young, elementary school. And one of the kids raised his hand, and said, "Why is the show closing?"
huh.
And I said, "Because we didn't sell enough tickets," which, sounds like very, cut and dried, but it's the truth. It was the truth. We didn't sell enough tickets.
Yeah.
Sorry, kid. Like, them's the breaks.
Yeah, it's like come see something else at the same James at some other time, but yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
how are you, or do you keep your in normal circumstances? How do you keep yourself focused? How do you maintain for work and for your own private life as a public person on Broadway?
Oh, not well. Not very well. How am I doing?
You're great. You're great. No.
Not well. I mean, I feel alternately, in control and then out of control, right? This whole time is just sort of an exercise in like things you can't control, like
Yeah.
things you don't know.
Mhm.
So I try to do a little bit of singing, and I try to do a little bit of dreaming about what I would like to do once this is all over. And honestly, it's talking to you, and it's talking to our friends, and it's participating in things like, raising money for the Actors Fund and for Broadway Cares, and for every theater I've ever worked for has like come out of the woodwork to ask for help, and I'm delighted to help them because I've worked at those theaters. They gave me an artistic home and usually a really fulfilling artistic experience. And why not help them raise money in their time of need?
You've done things for the Keene Theater several times, Keene Company several times, because I've like seen like
Yeah.
advertisements here and there that you're doing things for them. What is your connection with them?
Yeah, I did after Big Fish. I did the 20-year revival of a musical called John and Jen. So that's a
Mhm.
2-person musical that Andrew Lippa wrote about 25 years ago
Mhm.
with Tom Greenwald. So, I had a great experience working at Keene, and I loved working on John and Jen. And the guy who played John is my friend Connor Ryan. And in the show, we played siblings in the first act, and then we played mother and son in the second act.
Mhm.
And he's still one of my dearest friends. And so I feel a great, affinity for Keene Company. And they're just, a good old fashioned off-Broadway company that's been around for 15 years and trying to make it work. So why not help? I'm happy to do so. I love the people who run it,
Yeah.
and I like their work.
I mean, I think like we know that one way or another Broadway's going to come back, but it really is the off Broadway, the off Broadway, and those regional theaters that are going to be hit hard by this pause and how we begin again and what that means for them and fundraising and all. So it's great that you are helping out in the ways that you are.
Thank you. I mean, I do what I can, which is usually just singing a song for people. But I recognize how, or it feels like to me, it feels like people need to hear it now more than ever. Everybody wants a song of hope right now. And so do I, honestly. And actually, Keene Company had a great fundraiser a couple of weeks ago, like surpassed their goal. So people are, in fact, aware and in tune with giving. I think the arts are so important. I mean, you can speak to this too. How they can broaden your mind, take you out of your circumstance, and show you a world you didn't know existed, or just make you recognize how alike we all are. That's what theater can do for all of us.
Oh, and then, okay, so my last question for you is this, and along the lines of we can talk about politics or religion or technique. What part does faith or spirituality? I mean, I don't try and bind it to religion, because I know that many people have had issues with religion over the years, but what part does the idea of the universe or God or something that is greater than yourself play in your life, and how you go about this life?
Yeah. Oh, that's a fascinating question, and it's not one that I think about very often. I'll be honest. Religion does not play a big part in my life, and I was just reading a book actually about Buddhism, and I thought to myself, "Oh, this sounds good. I think I like Buddhism." And so, when I'm teaching my son, I think of religion and Christianity, which is how I was raised, as sort of a history lesson, as a version of history that I think it's important for him to know about. Likewise,
exposition, I call it.
Yeah,
the Bible is exposition. We move on from there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you bring up a big question, T, and one that I have not really fully embraced or formed the thoughts that deserve to be thunk in response. I guess I should figure that out before he starts asking too many questions. I gotta get an answer here.
You got more time, but it is that thing. I mean, for me, it's always like we all have been raised in many different ways, because as I say to Jeremiah all the time, it's like if you have a different mother, you have different thoughts on everything, no matter what else goes on. So it's like just figuring out how we make our way through, and if it plays a distinct part, or if it's sort of on the back burner, or where it is, or if we're still in the process of figuring it out, because I'm a full believer, like, we're here on this planet, and once we've done all we were supposed to do, and once we've figured out all those things, then we move on. So it's I think it's always a learning process to figure out how it fits in, and it's never going to be the same thing for any two people, I don't think.
Isn't that a wonderful thing, that it can be so individualized for anybody?
Yeah.
And and it can be a great source of comfort, and a great source of motivation, and a great set of guidelines for how to operate in a very complicated society, for sure. So yeah, I like it for those reasons.
Yeah, and I know you, and I know that you're a loving person, and honestly, at the end of the day, that's, for me, it's like, that's what we're supposed to be. It's about being loving and caring and open to others, and trying to make the world a better place for everyone. And
well, I think what you're describing, and what the word that just flashed in my mind as you said those words, was grace. It's just a little bit of grace.
Yeah,
I like that. Is that a religion?
that is not a religion, but we can make it one for you.
Let's make it.
You got a lot of grace.
That's nice of you. So do you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Kate Baldwin. Thank you so much.
Mwah.
Wow, wonderful.
Wake up, it's the morning. Wake up, the day is dawning. Wake up, it's time to spill the tea. So everybody's gotta wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the morning. Wake up, the day is dawning. Wake up, it's time to spill the tea. So everybody's gotta wake up, wake up.